What would you do if you get caught in an avalanche that sends you plummeting 100 feet down the mountain, only to casually write about it later like it was a minor inconvenience?
That's swagger right there. Quite a way to start an adventure story. So, what historical account are we diving into here?
It's the survival story of Lieutenant P.R. Oliver, who turned a military restriction into an epic climbing expedition. Due to political tensions in colonial India, he had to stay within 24 hours of his regiment, so he chose to explore the Dhauladhari Range, and what he accomplished there is absolutely mind-blowing.
So you're telling me he made the best of a bad situation? What kind of terrain was he dealing with?
Imagine this, a massive 5,000-foot granite wall with frozen snow corridors cutting through it like giant scars. And from the top, you're looking down into the Kangra Valley, a dizzying 12,000-foot drop. He found these amazing camping spots at places called Triund and Lakha, with Lakha perched at about 10,000 feet above sea level.
That's some serious elevation. How did he approach these climbs with such primitive equipment?
Well, here's where it gets really interesting. He mixed solo climbs with accompanied ones, which by today's standards would be considered incredibly reckless. On June 18th, he did this wild solo climb using crampons up a long snow corridor, then had to navigate through what he called a waterfall bottleneck during a hailstorm. And get this, his aneroid barometer once jumped from 16,000 to 23,000 feet during a lightning storm.
That's quite different from modern climbing with all our high-tech gear and safety protocols. What other close calls did he have?
Oh, you wouldn't believe how casually he describes potentially fatal situations. Like this one time on the Dromedary, he triggered a small avalanche and went down about 100 feet before stopping in a crevasse. He writes about it with the same nonchalance as describing his breakfast. And then there's this incredible night where he camped on a grassy ledge during a massive lightning storm, with his tent leaking and dirty snowmelt as his only water source.
That's absolutely wild. How did he handle the logistics of these expeditions?
The logistics offer this fascinating glimpse into colonial India. He paid his porters 2 rupees each for carrying his camp up and down, and 1 rupee for waiting in the high mountain huts. They brought their own food and were apparently happy with the arrangement, though it's worth noting how different these economic relationships were back then.
Looking at this through a modern lens, what stands out most about his approach to mountaineering?
What's really striking is his military precision in documenting everything, times, routes, conditions, while maintaining this almost cavalier attitude toward danger. He'd record exact times like 3 hours and 10 minutes up, 2 hours down, but then casually mention surviving an avalanche or weathering a massive storm. It's this fascinating combination of meticulous planning and raw adventure that you just don't see anymore.
Do you think modern mountaineering has lost something with all its safety measures and technological advances?
You know, I think it's more nuanced than that. While there's something undeniably romantic about Oliver's pure adventurous spirit, modern safety measures have made mountaineering more accessible and sustainable. The fundamental drive to explore and push boundaries hasn't changed. We're just doing it with better tools and knowledge now. Oliver's account shows us that whether you're climbing in 1930 or 2023, the mountains still demand the same respect and human spirit.
That's a fascinating perspective on how the sport has evolved while keeping its core essence. What do you think future generations will make of our current methods?
They'll probably look at our current equipment the same way we look at Oliver's canvas tent and unreliable barometer, as charmingly primitive. But I think they'll recognize that same spirit of adventure that drove Oliver to make the most of his restricted leave by climbing these magnificent peaks. It's a reminder that while technology changes, the human desire to push boundaries and explore the unknown remains remarkably constant.